Ooh, Navia! Alright, well, let's test her out. I mean, gee, what she does, right? Okay, alright, got a shotgun umbrella. Ooh, 29k, that's pretty average. Alright, okay, alright. 47? Hey, we're leveling up, Alright, this time let's try it with some buffs, you know? I mean, you need some buffs in your life. I mean, 40k is the max that we've done so far. Please don't kill everyone. What? Alright, Shirley, I know she didn't do that much damage. What? Okay, come on. She can't hit it for the third time, right? Bro, no! Wait a second. What is her stats? Okay, it has to be really good, right? Oh, you are actually kidding. Hey, yo! So as many of you already know, with the add-on of 4.3, we have seen a new playable character named Navia. Obviously, for the people that have been waiting since 4.1, and maybe even decades at this point for her, they will finally experience how she is played. But mainly, I really just want to talk about how much damage she really does. I mean, it is just absolutely broken, as you could see from the trial that I did earlier. And I'm not even gonna lie to you, the stats were not even that good, and it can even become better. But furthermore, I really just want to talk about Navia for now, as a lot of people are playing her currently, and I will try to give a very simple and fast guide. I also don't want to stand here for a pretty long time with just staring at Kazuha, so I'm gonna get straight into this guide. But before that, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and maybe even comment on this video what you feel about the character. Or else me and Kazuha will just cry, okay, come on. Okay, so first off, I really just want to talk about Navia's talents, as they are her main priority for the damage dealing, and I also want to just get into everything quickly so you guys can just understand it in just a matter of time. So obviously her normal attack, it is probably the same as every other character out there, as it is just pretty normal to other Claymore users. But one thing that is different within this is that after she's using her charge attack, which is the cycling motion, she'll deal like a very big uppercut or just a very big slash in general that deals double the damage as one cycle. As you can see from here, cycling damage 62 and then final damage basically double. But yeah, anything else from that, it is basically just the same, and there's no point of just talking about it. Next thing I want to get into is her skill, which is probably the most broken thing in this game so far, and this is just what defines Navia's damage. This ability will allow her to pull out an umbrella and shoot it like a shotgun. I have no idea how that works, okay, an umbrella? But seriously, how this works is Gumbrella bases off of how many crystal shards you pick up from the ground. But one thing about the crystallized shards on the ground is that they actually can be picked up by other teammates, and Navia will still get a bullet right after that. Each bullet on the side will give her a damage percent bonus, which is probably really good for Navia and just very helpful overall. But in addition, the reason why I said this is the main damage dealer is because the bullets on the side actually determine how much damage she does from the current damage she already deals. One thing that I also really want to know about this is that this skill has an aiming mode, so if you're far away from the enemy itself, you won't deal that much damage and you'll just lose out on so much potential damage. For Navia right now, I really just recommend staying very close range, as that's when her damage actually becomes alive and you can do much more with it. Now obviously the third main final one that you guys have to know is that her ult. Now at first this may seem this is like a very useless talent, but you guys gotta know that this is pretty broken. If Gumbrella hits opponents for 2.4 seconds over here, you will gain a Gunbrella bullet. You don't really have to prioritize on this talent, as it is only just trying to hit enemies, and it will just help you later on. Obviously for her fourth talent, this is what basically converts her Gunbrella to geo damage from her skill, and in addition she'll also have normal attacks, charge attacks, and plunging attacks increased by 40%. Now obviously this talent is not compared to the last one, as this is probably one of the most useful things for Navia, as I will also get into her teams later, but she does require other stuff than geo. Although geo creates the crystallized reactions, I would not prefer more than one, as other elements will just increase all her attack by 20%. This can stack up to 2 times, so you don't really need more than 2 of them, which, like I said again, you could have a geo on the side, which will be really helpful for more crystallized shards. Now moving on from talents to constellations, if you are rolling for constellations, I will try explaining this as simple as possible, as most of them are just passages that probably no one wants to read, but I'm going to try explaining every single one of them thoroughly. So obviously starting off with the first talent, which is her Gunbrella, this really just allows her to to use her Gumbrella as a really good energy source for her ult. Each bullet consumed in this manner by her skill will allow her to gain 3 energy and a second decrease from her ult. This can stack up to 9 energy and 3 seconds decrease from her ult, so basically 3 bullets. I really hope I explained this as thoroughly as I could, but moving on from C1, I just want to talk about C2. So obviously from C1 to C2, if 3 bullets are consumed, you could not only have the effect of C1, but the effect of 36% increased crit rate. She really just expends more in damage rather than crit rate here, because she mainly just wants to aim for crit damage at this state rather than crit rate. But in addition, as it says over here, another cannon shot will be fired from her ult when she uses that Gunbrella, and it will still be counted as an elemental burst damage. But why this is really broken is because not only is she going to get more stacks of bullets, but every single Gunbrella that is fired will just fire an extra bullet in general. So there's no cooldown for how many bullets you can send at the same time, it's just all around one go. Now moreover, moving on from second constellation to third constellation, this is basically the same for every single character. I mean, there's no different. I have not seen this be different on anything else, but like it just upgrades your talent for her skill. She'll just get more damage on it, and it's just insane. Now moving on from third constellation to fourth constellation, I really want to talk mainly about this one because this is also really broken. What this allows her to do is basically use her ult, and her skill will just do even more damage as the geo resistance on every enemy she faces will be decreased by 20%. This will also last up for 8 seconds, which is actually a pretty long time, and one meme-ish thing that I found about this skill is that you could make an Ito team with this, and it's just absolutely broken as her ult just decreases the geo res and Ito will just go slashing away as he does geo damage. Although that is a very meme-ish team for C4, that is not on the topic of Navia, and I just want to go onto her C5 as literally it's the same thing as C3 where it just upgrades her skill and it's just pretty good. Now obviously towards C6, which is probably the most broken constellation on any 5-star, what this can do to Navia is every bullet beyond the first 3 has its crit damage increased by 45%. And not only that, she actually gets her first 3 back if you use ones that are beyond the first 3. I just think this is pretty broken because she will just deal non-stop amount of damage, and with all of these combined, Navia might be one of the greatest characters added to this game so far. Now in most cases where people can't or maybe don't want to go for these constellations, she is just an absolute broken unit on C0, so anything fits her at that state and she is just complete overall. Now furthermore, from what she can do at her core, I want to just explain her weapons, artifacts, and maybe even team comps that suits her so you guys can just get a complete guide about it and there won't be any misunderstanding. Navia can be a really good team with obviously Bennett, as this guy is just broken when it comes to increasing attack, and he will probably be your number 1 in slot. The last and final perfect character that goes on her team is basically Zhongli. I don't have him myself as I missed him twice, sadly. But as for Zhongli, he actually shields up Navia as she does need it. She does not really have that much defense, and she also gains crystallized reactions even more faster as Geo is the one that creates them. Moving that out of the way, there are some other alternatives like Goru, as he is a pretty good one when it comes to Geo damage. But why I think Goru is just a really good character aside from Zhongli is that his skill actually damages multiple people at once with Geo, so if you can create a Pyro, Electro, or maybe even Hydro reaction, he'll be able to use a skill on the ground and damage multiple people with Geo damage, which creates a bunch of shards and Navia can just pick them up, or any other teammate like I said again. But for some of you, Furina's not going to be an option, so I do have some other alternatives like Yelan. She's just really good when it comes to applying reactions, as she'll constantly apply Hydro with her ult, and you can just do Geo damage to get your crystallized shards. Same thing with Xingqiu, as he does the same exact thing, but Yelan is greater than him, and Xingqiu is also another option. There's also another thing that I really want to add with Furina and Navia, as you can actually use Jean instead of Bennett to stack up Furina's ult, and Navia can just gain a really good damage bonus from it. But Bennett obviously could be better, as you do need his buffs, and he is obviously a healer too, but if you want to stack Furina's ult much better, you can also use Jean instead of him. Now moving on to Navia's weapons, her signature weapon is probably going to be her best one, as it literally is her signature weapon. But what this axe does is it has a crit rate as main stat that can go up to 22, and for the substat of the axe itself, it will just give her more attack and crystallized reaction damage. But in most cases, people don't roll on the weapon banner so much, as it is a scam sometimes. but I have some other options for you guys to use if you are a low spender or maybe even free to play. Now another really good viable option aside from a signature weapon is obviously Serpent Spine, as this just has the main stat of crit rate like her other one. Actually, this one's even more than her main one, and the substats of this claymore literally just gives 6% more damage, stacking up to 5 times, which is probably 36%, and that will just give her more damage overall. But aside from Serpent Spine, I actually want to note that there is a new weapon coming out that every person can get, and you can even R5 it, as it is a free to play weapon for her, and it will just suit her more like Serpent Spine. It is coming into a 4.3 future event, and it will just be really good, as it is called the Ultimate Overlord Magnum or something like that. I have no idea. Look, I get some stuff wrong. But really, pretty much in short, you guys can get a free weapon later, and if you have the Serpent Spine or not, you can also use that, or you can just wait for the free to play weapon. Now lastly, onto her artifact set, which is also pretty important, which does probably most of her damage to this point. This Nighttime Whispers 2-piece set gives her 18% attack, which she actually will use for her damage, and that is a pretty good one so far. And then her 4-piece set is actually pretty good, as it just gives her 20% geo damage bonus, and under the effects of Crystallized Reaction, you will gain 5 times this buff, and it's just really good overall. One other thing I also want to cover about artifacts is the substats, and what you really should need for every single one of them, and what you should be just farming for in general. So for her substats, I would recommend going for crit damage / crit rate, as it is probably her main priority at that point. You can also go for attack percent, which is her second main priority. Now obviously for the Sands, don't go defense percent, as most Geo characters go defense percent for most damage. But for Geo on Navia, she only needs attack percent, as that will just increase her damage even further, and just good for her in general. Obviously for the Goblet, go Geo damage bonus, as that's what she actually does. And then for the Circlet, maybe even go crit rate or crit damage, depending on what you have less and what you need more of. In conclusion, I hope I really just explained everything thoroughly and simplified, so you guys can understand in just the most basic way, and I hope I just did not go overboard with this, as I just want people to have fun with the character and maybe even explore. Actually, I don't want to talk for so long, as I don't want you guys to sit here for so long like me, and I just want you guys to understand more than just blabbing. But to wrap things up at this point of time, I just want to say that Navia is a great character, and if you are going for her as a main DPS, she is probably a really good tier above anyone else in this game, and I think is just a very good hyper carry if you are planning to build a good character. And I'll be genuinely honest, Navia is really fun as well. I actually tried her in the trial, as you can see from the start of this video, and she is just great for many people, and for me as well. But yet again, as the moon rises, this is probably my time to head off, and yours as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, or even comment anything. I really hope you guys can tell me what your experience with her is, and other suggestions you guys want me to do in this channel. Sxyrax out. Bye-bye.